Welcome to Outta Pocket. Here's your host, Michael Davis.
Welcome to Outta Pocket with Michael Davis on Tobacco Road Sports Radio and TobaccoRoadSportsRadio.com as your roundtable lunch break. I'm joined by Esteban Serrano. Brett Wiseman will be on later in the show and produced by Desmond Johnson. But we are sponsored by DraftKings. The wait is over. DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of NASCAR, is now live in North Carolina. Now you can legally bet on all your favorite sports anytime, anywhere, right here in North Carolina with DraftKings. For a limited time, new customers who sign up with promo code Tobacco Road and bet $5 will receive $250 instantly in bonus bets. DraftKings has the best features, including same-game parlays, player props, and more with fast and easy payouts right at your fingertips. You can wager on who's going to win the race, who's going to place top 3, top 5, however you're feeling. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now using code Tobacco Road and bet $5 to get $250 instantly in bonus bets. Only on DraftKings Sportsbook with code Tobacco Road. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 877-718-5543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov. 21 plus, North Carolina only. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. Deposit and eligibility restrictions apply. Terms at DraftKings.com/sportsbook/NC. NASCAR is not sponsored this promotion. Used under license. We have a loaded show for you today. And as you can see, we're having Brett Wiseman pop in from his satellite location of the Blue Ridge Bobcats. And Brett got me started on Tobacco Road. I was a guest of his on The Score. Brett, how are you doing today?
I can't complain, guys. It's opening day and best time of the hockey season too. How are you guys?
Yeah, I'm doing great. It's good to have you on here. It's good to have Esteban on here as well. We'll talk a little bit about the MLB opening day. Had to pull out my World Series shirt. But last night we're watching some hoop action, and Draymond Green gets ejected for the fourth time this year. And we all know the Warriors dynasty has done really good for the Golden State Warriors. But it's getting out at a point to where I have to pose the question for last night. Who was out of pocket? Was it Draymond for getting ejected for the fourth time this season? Or was it the official who couldn't handle Draymond jawing back and forth? Esteban, I'll start with you. What's your thoughts on this altercation?
Hey, Mike, I just wanted to say, hey, it's been a while, man. Good. Thanks for having me on. Pretty excited about today. And I apologize in advance. We got a puppy. We adopted one just the last time we've seen each other. So he may bark and you may hear that in the mic. So he may have an out-of-pocket take as well. I'm just letting you know that. I think, I didn't see the video. I'm going to be honest with you. But I've read enough already this morning because it was all over the sports news. It was all over the sports world. I mean, this is not the Draymond Green I know. And to be honest with you, I'm going to look at it from both ways, right? The official is trying to do his job, and I get that, right? Recently in the NBA, we've seen a lot of questionable calls from officiating, and that's been a heavy topic of discussion as well, is how do we fix this problem, right? But if you're on the other side of it, right, Draymond, I'm not going to, promote his behavior. I think in a way he's, this is
only from Pizza Hut.
Here's the video.
Caro attacking again, and that's not bad defense, but it's a foul.
I wanted to throw it because I haven't seen the video yet either, but when I heard the name Draymond Green, it didn't surprise me, and that's the sad part. It didn't surprise me that he was ejected, but this is 4 minutes into the game.
Right.
Literally 4 minutes into the first quarter.
This is 2 consecutive technical fouls in the first 4 minutes of the game. This is unacceptable, to be honest with you, and this has been a trend recently as well, right? He's doing that 4-year contract that Golden State has him on. Right, behavior like this is only adding fuel to the fire, and the fact that the Warriors have not been that team we knew from a few years ago in terms of like the dynasty team. I mean, this is unexcusable behavior by Draymond. This takes the professionalism out of professional basketball.
His piece. He got another tag. AJ's gone. He just got ejected.
Brett, we just saw the video on Tobacco Road Sports Radio channel. 2 technicals under 4 minutes into the first quarter. What's your thoughts on this? Was Draymond the one out of pocket?
I'll tell you, I think Bro's playing the wrong sport. He should grab one of these stick things right here and just go to work.
Steve takes time. Draymond's been ejected.
It really sounds like he's one of those people that should put on a pair of
Draymond got the
skates
tee there
and
because
run
he made a
over
little
everybody.
contact with Ray Acosta. You
That
can't
being
touch
said,
an official. So that's the
that's a
first
foul.
tee. This is the one where nobody likes.
See,
Ray's walking away. Draymond's away. Guys say stuff. You don't go back and then go tee a guy up and toss him.
Because
They're not near each other. They're not in each other's
play.
face.
And then I see somebody
that's
lose
the one
3
where
teeth
the bench
and
had a
then
little
come back to
issue
the
with.
bench,
So
I had an issue with
spin
it,
him out,
but
and then
you
go
never
back
know
out
what
for
he
his next
said
shift.
there in the recovery. But
Some athletes are just built different. Some athletes draw at officials.
Draymond got thrown out. He was one of the ones
Draymond
over
draws
there
at
trying to
officials.
calm him down.
If he was
This
on
is the
skates, he'd
original
probably
foul
be kicked
that
out for that too.
made Draymond
He would
mad.
receive what we call an
The
abuse of officials
trip
penalty.
there.
And
The
probably
official
be
thought it was a
suspended.
trip.
But
Draymond saying,
the fact that he has the reputation that he does leads him to certain judgment and persecution. We have this thing in our league when someone commits a player safety violation where if they're a repeat offender, their suspension for certain infractions goes up. So Draymond is at that point where anytime he could like imitate the doodle from SpongeBob and just say like authentic frontier gibberish and get thrown out of the game. He doesn't even have to say a coherent sentence. All he has to do is move his lips, and an official's going to throw him out of the game.
And I think you build up a reputation over time. Like the NFL a decade ago had Ndamukong Suh. Like whenever Ndamukong Suh would...
I'm sorry, you mean Ndamukong Stomp?
Ndamukong Stomp, yeah. Like stomping on players. Like once you get that reputation...
Stomping on my quarterback.
Yeah. He probably deserved it, Aaron Rodgers.
They probably did. Yeah.
Couldn't stand that point. But Des, like with Draymond doing this, like I don't know if the Warriors should keep Draymond further than this season. But if you look at the rest of their core, like they're getting old. Like Curry can still play at a high level, but Klay Thompson, his play's diminished. Like how long can you keep this dynasty together?
I don't think you can. I think this was it. And I think the telltale was you see Steph's reaction to Draymond getting thrown out. And the post game, Steve Kerr said something that was interesting. He said basically he deserved it. He deserved to get thrown out. And that's the first time that you've really heard them not really just blindly come to the defense of Draymond Green, no matter what it was he did. That's kind of a telltale that they're kind of getting tired of this. Like this is wearing them out.
Yeah, this is getting out of hand already.
Yeah, and it looks like Steve Kerr is just checked out of the season. Like literally, it just looks like he's got that Bill Self thing going on where he's already thinking about next year, if he's even gonna be back next year. I mean, does he need to be back next year? He's won 4 NBA titles. He's considered a legendary coach as it stands right now. I don't think you can go any further with this core. And with the amount of money tied up in that arena and the payroll as it stands right now, you do have Draymond, I think, for another season signed. I think you have Klay for another season signed, but maybe now that's when you try to get rid of them to get some assets back. It really depends on what they want to do. Are you going to sit and try to rebuild around Steph over the next 4 years, or do you just tear the whole thing down? And that's where it gets a little iffy because Steph is the only player on this roster that to me is untouchable. Like you could trade anybody on the Warriors roster right now except for Steph if you want to be relevant in the NBA. And the Warriors, man, they're in the 10th seed right now in the West. They're 4 games over 500. They've been like this all year. Like there's not been a stretch where they've looked really, really good. They've been a 500 team pretty much all year long. This is kind of the end. This is kind of what happens to dynasties. They don't just, peter away. It happens pretty abruptly. And really, this has been a 2-year thing. Just age, injuries, everything else. It's just time to let it go. If they wait much longer, it's going to look a lot worse next year when you have a Draymond Green that's older, a Steph that's older, a Klay that's a year older. I don't know what happened to Andrew Wiggins. Like, it just, Chris Paul is like 50 as it stands right now. So, I mean, you're old. Like, in the NBA, especially in the West, look at the top of the standings. The Denver Nuggets, the Timberwolves, the Thunder. They're all young teams. The Kings, they're all young teams, like 27-year-olds and under. Like, yeah, it's just, I think it's time to flip it out. I really do.
And
I'm going to equate this to hockey. And, the Pittsburgh Penguins won 2 cups in 4 years. The Detroit Red Wings in the late 90s won 4 cups in 7 years, I think. And then in this decade, you had the Blackhawks win 3 cups in 5 years. So, and then you kind of saw as the NHL is so tight on its salary cap that parity is almost a requirement year in and year out. So you can't keep everybody. You can't pay everybody. There are no super teams in the NHL. So the Blackhawks can't hang on to Jonathan Taves. They have to cut him. They can't hang on to Patrick Kane, who was an assistant captain on those cup teams. Jonathan Taves was the captain. They have to cut the captain. They have to trade the assistant captain, who's one of the greatest goal scorers of all time. Brent Seabrook has to go. Duncan Keith has to go. Core guys have to go. Same thing with the Penguins. They can't hang on to Chris Letang forever. He's got to get out. They can't hang on to Jonathan Drouin forever. He's got to get out. Eventually, there's a point in time where you have to say, and even the NFL, Green Bay did it last year. My team did it last year. They saw Rodgers. They were like, all right, it's time. Well, also, he's certifiably insane. But, all right, time to get him out. He's 38. Let's get the kids in here. They had the 5th youngest roster ever to make the playoffs. And, Michael, I'm sorry, while I'm on here, I have to give you crap for it. They made the Dallas Cowboys look like a bunch of traffic cones. Like, they just ran around them.
Des, we can mute his mic now.
You can go on to MLB. It's fine.
Yeah, we can, because as soon as you start talking trash about the Cowboys,
I'm getting you a Jordan Love jersey. I'm telling you.
Oh, dude, I have been wanting some reusable toilet paper for so long. Dude, it's starting to eat up at my bank account how much toilet paper I'm going through. That would be appreciated. Much well appreciated. But kind of like Des was saying with like the Warriors, like teams wait too long to get rid of their players because they have such an attachment to them. It's like when you're trying to get rid of, oh man, I don't really wear this shirt anymore. I've outgrown it like 3 sizes ago, but I used to wear it in high school when it made me feel happy and exuberant. So you keep it for no reason.
It's different in the NBA because, again, the salary cap isn't that tight. So you're not necessarily forced, as in the NHL or the NFL. You're not necessarily forced to have to make that move. So you delay it and you put it off as long as you can and as long as you want to. And now the Warriors are at the point to where Draymond Green is more of a liability out there than an asset.
Yeah, and exactly. And we'll have to see how that Warrior situation moves on. But today is MLB opening day. Super excited for that. But there's some scandals going on right now. Shohei Ohtani is playing today. He's actually playing against Brett's team, the Cardinals, in the midst of a scandal where he was gambling or a supposed gambling with his interpreter with the money invested in that. Brett, your team plays the Dodgers today and Shohei Ohtani. Do you think Ohtani should be playing right now while this scandal goes on?
I don't think we know enough to say that he can't play. And I think it's too important for Major League Baseball with all the press that they gave that free agent chase to get him. See, it's different. In Major League Baseball, you don't just have super teams. You have the Dodgers who are spending $600 gazillion to build a super team, and all they have to do is pay $1 a year at the end of the year because there's no salary cap. They just have to pay $1 on what's called a luxury tax. That's how they can afford Shohei Ohtani. Although 7 gazillion of his $8 gazillion are delayed until the end of the contract. It's beside the point. I think it's too important for Major League Baseball to not have him on the field. But the thing that I think people aren't necessarily understanding about this is, and we go through it here in, especially at this level of minor league hockey that I work in with a lot of our European guys. When they need interpreters, Ohtani's interpreter is his wingman. That guy's been by his side since he entered the United States, since his visa got approved. And the thing is, as that guy, you're privy to a lot of sensitive personal information, bank account routing numbers.
Use this to clear out stuck poop fast.
Things that, probably aided the interpreter in being able to, those wire transfers, Shohei Ohtani probably had no idea they happened. The interpreter probably just knew the right codes and numbers and just shipped them out.
See, I got questions about this because we got to stop calling this guy his interpreter because, like Brett just said, he was like his right hand man. Like he did more than just interpret his stuff. But I find it hard to believe that Shohei Ohtani did not notice $4.5 million missing from his bank account and didn't know how it was gone, like how it disappeared. Like, how did this guy have access to the account in the first place? Like, this story has changed so many times now that I'm skeptical
that's the thing is
he's clean. You know what I mean?
As soon as guys come over to the States, whether it's any sport, it's baseball, it's basketball, it's football, it's Major League Soccer, those interpreters are assigned and attached to these players to go set up things like bank accounts, driver's licenses. They're subject to and view a lot of sensitive information that a lot of times the first instance of that being set up, Shohei Ohtani is probably oblivious to the fact that his best friend had access to it because his best friend understood what the person on the other end of the line was asking him to set that up. Shohei Ohtani probably has no idea what a routing number is.
But wouldn't he have had to sign that off? He would have had to sign that off to give someone permission to use the account, like, or the guy would have had to sign this behalf without him knowing.
I'm not saying this in a disparaging manner, but a lot of times somebody like Shohei in his first ever, interaction doesn't necessarily know what he's signing.
Right.
See, that's putting a lot of leeway on a guy that just signed a $700 million contract. He doesn't know he's signing, but yet he can sign something that big.
But Brett's saying the whole point is that he has assistance through his journey here in the States. Like when he first gets here, that right-hand man's supposed to help him, do that sort of thing. It's supposed to help him, sign those contracts, understand the terms and conditions of what he's putting his signature to before he does.
Yeah, a comment just came in the chat. Pete Rose's interpreter is called Jack Daniels.
There we go.
I feel like everyone is trying to absolve Ohtani because he's the best baseball player on the planet right now. So it's easier for us to be like, oh, well, the interpreter must have done wrong, as opposed to thinking Shohei sent this to his guy to bet on his behalf. Like, it's in a world where Diddy has gone from beloved hip hop artist to supervillain in like 36 hours. Like, I don't think it's beyond the realm of reason to think that Shohei Ohtani might have took $4.5 million over a course of time and was making bet or was allowing his interpreter to make bets. It doesn't mean that Shohei was doing it. He gave him the money. He gave him the money for it to cover it at least. Like,
and it's hard because it's like you're making so much money as a baseball player. Why are you even putting yourself in the position to do that? Now,
right.
There is a team who's putting themselves in position to potentially repeat. Now, we've mentioned the NFL, the NBA, hockey as well. MLB has the longest drought for a repeating champion. The last time a team repeated was the 1998 to 2000 New York Yankees actually three-peated. And I had to bring out, there's a World Series banner behind me. I got the World Series t-shirt. My Cowboys are actually the only team of mine I haven't seen win a championship. So hopefully that comes soon in my lifetime. Esteban's also a Rangers guy. He's a local Texan and covers the Rangers and follows them really closely. And so I wanted to bring up, guys, like, yeah, of the four major sports, Major League Baseball has the longest drought. We got about 10 minutes left of the show, and we still got to go into March Madness. But could the Rangers potentially repeat this year? And if not, Esteban, who do you think is the favorite to win the World Series this year?
So I think it's really early to determine any of this, but if I had to make a guess, and this is coming from a Rangers fan, keep in mind, I don't know if the Rangers can repeat necessarily. They lost a few assets in the offseason. They didn't sign Jordan Montgomery again. In fact, he signed with Arizona, so that was a huge loss, and he had a really good postseason. I mean, if you look at his numbers, his ERA was...
for him, by the way.
Yeah. His ERA numbers were relatively low. He had a real good series against Houston in the ALCS. The Rangers are going to be competitive this year. That AL West is probably going to be the drama of MLB in terms of the American League right now. But if I had to make a guess on who would win the World Series, I'd say we're 162 games away from that. The first few months of the season are pretty much going to determine a lot come, the All-Star break and then come the second half of the season. A lot can change between now and then as well. So I'm going to leave it on a hung note there, Mike.
He's not going one way or the other. We are seeing comments pop up Max commented, Peyton's going to be on the show tomorrow talking some more college basketball. He's doing great stuff with everything college basketball. Him and his brother are blowing up right now.
Yeah, Josh Burton's actually on Franchise Players this week talking about the Friday Sweet 16 game. So you'll get a double dose of the Burtons on Tobacco Road this week.
Dude, that's incredible. They're doing great stuff. Josh also commented, Josh Scott. He was on The Score with Brett Wiseman a lot, and Brett liked to cover baseball when he had The Score. Brett, do you think the Rangers have a decent chance of repeating as World Series champs, or who do you think the favorite is this year?
I think there's a decent shot, and they proved what the Dodgers just threw gasoline on a lit fire on, which is in Major League Baseball, you can literally buy a championship. The Rangers spent how much? Almost $1 billion in free agency 2 years ago.
I think it was something like 500 million or something like that. It was a lot of money.
And
a lot of money being thrown around.
They went from the third worst team in the big leagues in 2 years. They win a championship. So the Dodgers were like, oh, wait, we have to not just spend money. We have to really spend money, as in $700 million, defer 698 of it money. So the Rangers proved that. They still have the pieces, I feel like. Looking at you, John Mazalok, for letting Adolis Garcia go for cash, but that is what it is. I don't really see anybody else in the American League right now that's a huge threat other than the other team in their division.
Yeah.
I don't see – the AL Central sucks. Let's just be real. That's the worst division in baseball. I think
AL East as well. AL East is very questionable. I mean, you get two teams in their last – I think it was 2 or 1. You got the Rays in their last postseason, and then they got swept by the Rangers in the wild card. Yeah. And then every other year we make a big hype about how the Yankees and the Red Sox are going to do this phenomenal job. They go out and buy these players, pitchers, and then it ends up being a bust. I mean, that is obviously something that's not working for them. The AL East is I'm not going to say the laughing stock of baseball right now, but there are some questionable things going on in that division.
You can't tell me there's anybody – you can't tell me the Yankees and Red Sox right now are better baseball teams than the Baltimore Orioles. You can't sit here and tell me that.
That was the other one, the Orioles, yeah.
I don't really have a dog in the fight because I don't really follow Major League Baseball until it gets closer to playoff time, but I'll just say go Braves because I'm in North Carolina and we don't have a baseball team. We need
a Major League Baseball team. We have minor leagues. I love going to the Crawdads. That's actually how my ties to the Texas Rangers happened. Went to the 2013 Crawdads. That was the team that had Lewis Brinson, Joey Gallo, CJ Edwards. Gallo is my favorite player.
Light tower power,
super
that guy.
Awesome. And Corey Ragsdale was actually the manager of that ball club.
There's a name.
Who's now one of the he's the first base coach for the defending World Series champion Texas Rangers. I think they have a good shot. I love the mixture of veterans with Corey Seager, Alice Garcia re-signed with the team, and then you got guys who emerged last year like Evan Carter and Josh Young. Wyatt Langford had a great spring training.
Jacob deGrom coming back from injury too, and then hopefully you get Max Scherzer back too.
Yeah, it's super awesome. So we'll have to see how this Major League Baseball season plays out. We're trying to get you guys back to your work at 1:00. So we have the That Aged Well segment, and we have 4 March Madness games tonight. So I'm going to hit you guys in 30 seconds or less. Tell me who you think advances. Esteban, your game is Illinois versus Iowa State.
All right, so you got a 3 seed and a 2 seed. I mean, this is a ideal scenario for anybody, any bracket goer out there. I have a rule when you're filling out a bracket prior to the tournament. There's a few teams you never trust, and one of those teams is Illinois, along with teams like Purdue, Houston. There are some other ones in there as well, but I'm taking Iowa State. The Cyclones are favored by 1.5 on the sports books, and I expect them to meet UConn the next round.
Brett, in 30 seconds or less, who's advancing, Clemson or Arizona?
The message for John Rothstein of CBS Sports and Turner. You all year have talked smack about the ACC not being a superior league. You've talked smack about Clemson. Tonight, Clemson makes you, again, in the wrong. Clemson beats Arizona by 8.
Ooh, spicy. Okay.
By 8. We're going to hold you to that. We'll see if that aged well. Des, of course, you're the UNC guy. Your game is Alabama versus UNC. Do they meet Clemson in the Elite 8?
Maybe. I mean, I'm sitting there deciding, would I rather them play Clemson or Arizona? And I'm like, we need to worry about Alabama first before we even think about that. Alabama's the highest scoring team in the D1, I believe. I think they score like 90 a game. Flip side of that is, from my understanding, they don't play a lick of defense. And Carolina's one of the top 3-point shooting defenses in all of D1. So I think if the Carolina team comes out, it's really going to be up to Carolina, not Alabama. If Carolina comes out swinging first, RJ's hitting, Armando's doing his thing, and there's a third scorer, whether it's Ingram or Ryan or Tribble or whoever, Washington, whoever the third guy's going to be, it's going to give them 12 or 15. I think Carolina moves on. I've got Carolina in my final. Actually, I have Carolina in my national championship game against Tennessee, so I got to pick Carolina here against Alabama. But it should be a fun game to watch. I think it's going to be a high-paced back and forth in the game in the 80s, probably.
I think if you love college basketball and you love March Madness, you're going to love the games tonight. My game is San Diego State versus number 1 seed UConn. I didn't expect UConn to make it this far. As a matter of fact, that whole northern region of the bracket is completely destroyed
this
for me.
This tournament is just a UConn invitational at this point.
It's weird, but I'm going to go ahead and say UConn is upset by San Diego State. Shout out to San Diego State alum Jason Cetek, who's been on Drop the Mic. If you missed Drop the Mic yesterday, the show is on from Mike Mealy and Shan Smith as guests. But we'll see who wins these March Madness. We'll see if these games age well. Peyton says UNC by 15. You can catch Peyton on the show tomorrow on Out of Pocket with Michael Davis, 12:30 p.m. Eastern time. But we got to get out of here. I'm going to go enjoy MLB opening day. Baseball fans rejoice. Basketball fans rejoice. It's a great time to be a sports fan. We will see you guys tomorrow at 12:30. Thank you, Esteban. Thank you, Brett. Thank you, producer Desmond Johnson. And thank you guys for tuning in. We will see you guys back tomorrow afternoon at 12:30.
Go Bobcats.